And here we are. We are live, everybody.
Yay!
How's it going? And today we have Lyla Rim here with us. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. I got my coffee with me.
Yes.
I see you do
Cheers.
too. Cheers to that. There's coffee. And to everybody who's joining me in the stream today, my name is TBone. Thank you for joining me here. You may be new. If you're new to the channel, this is where I'm going to be doing most of the content for Gemstone Legends. For this particular type of series, I try to get other content creators on here with me as well, but I do plan on having weekly weekend series anyway, where we get to get together and just talk about the game, and I can give my thoughts, tips, whatever have you. But the goal is to have more of a type of a fireside chat type format where the focus is on you guys, where you can bring your questions to me or any of the content creators I have here, and we'll just have conversations. And from time to time, I'm going to try and bring different people on board as well. And today we've got Lyla Rim, so I'm really excited to have her here. Now, Lyla is a really prominent member in the community as well. You see her posting lots in the global chat, and also she has her own YouTube channel. You can see it right here. Lyla Rim Gaming is the name of the channel. So make sure you guys go and take a look, subscribe, and let's have a conversation here. So just welcoming everybody in the stream here. We're getting people started, and just so you guys know, we will have giveaways for the redeeming codes again this week, just like we did for last week. The difference here is we're going to let the code last for 24 hours. So if you're not able to join us for the stream, that's okay. As long as you watch the stream within 24 hours, you'll still be able to use your codes. Okay, and so we're going to start the code giveaway in about 10 minutes or so, just after a little bit. But first, let's switch our attention back to Lyla, who is our guest of honor today. So, Lyla, just wanted to kick things off by maybe we'll ask you a question a little bit about your channel, like what it is that you focus on your channel. How did you get started? Like, give us a little introduction. Let us know who is Lailarim Gaming.
Um, well, I would say that my focus is probably mostly for newer to like moderate gameplay. There's a lot of involvement, especially when you're first getting started, and it can be kind of a little daunting. So I wanted to give as many guides as I could to make that easier for everybody to kind of get the show on the road. Um, and I first started. It was actually Latimer who you had the last time. Kind of put the bug in my ear to get some guides going. So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun. I would love to get to know everybody a little bit more. The people that watch the channel or that have any questions or whatever. I like doing it so far.
Okay, that's awesome. Good to hear. I love seeing new, various different content creators for a game. The more we have, the better, I think, for the community. So I'm just really glad to have you guys all around. And a quick stream shout out here. We got James, Sparts, Don, Gretchen, Simkowski, and we got One Riv One, Dennis. Sorry if I butcher any of the names. Agnieszka, and No Love Lost, Maria Smith, and Dragon Master. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thank you very much for joining here. And so yeah, we got Lyla Rim in the house, and so now that you've started, like one of the things that I always like to know about the people is like what's your favorite type of content that you create? Like when you make these Gemstone Legend type videos, like what do you find most enjoyable when you make?
Um, Probably. Oh, that's a really hard question, honestly. I really like to do I like hero guides for heroes that are not typically the most talked about heroes.
Okay.
Kind of like opening it up for people because um you don't have to have the like newest craziest heroes to be able to be successful, and I really want people to kind of know that they can make their gameplay how they want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So then, if I
yeah.
were to ask you to promote one of your favorite hero guys, like which hero would it be, and what are some of the things that you would want to say about that hero?
Um I would say my favorite hero is probably Inula.
Okay.
Um I think especially for war specifically, she's probably one of my favorite heroes to be able to use there. Um, and maybe not the most not known. Everybody kind of likes Enula, but as far as rare heroes, she's probably one of my favorites. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that she can be really beneficial on pretty much any team, especially if she's super fast, and you could really get her out there and just like wreck with Enula. So
Yeah, so Shu is definitely a primary focus for the conversation last week as well. So there's definitely a theme here. So if you guys are new to the stream, we also do try and tell you guys about some of these heroes to watch out for. And Lila's recommended Inula. What about let's do a top three, right? So we got Inula. Any other? Can you
Ooh.
talk about two other heroes that you can think of? It doesn't have to be rare, like whatever you like the most.
Um, I really love Percival.
Okay.
Um, he honestly, he was one of my like first heroes that I was able to kind of equip the best way for a hero as opposed to just try to be like fitting into a niche. And he's really kind of been a big one for me as
Okay.
far as one of my favorite heroes to use. So he's a green epic.
Okay.
He's in the Slav family. I really love Percival. He's awesome. Let's see. I
What
also
what would be the main thing that people should know about Percival that they may not otherwise know? Because I think some of these heroes, a lot of people will find that at first glance, they may not be what they're looking for until they actually learn a little bit more about it. So, what will be sort of like the main thing that you felt that Percival really worked for you? Like, what did you really like the most about him?
well, Percival is his attack or not attack, I'm sorry, his damage increases with a higher health point. So I really like that it's kind of like a 2-for-1. So you're going to have a hero that can withstand a lot of damage, but that can also output a lot of damage. So I really like that he's kind of that combination. I like to use him on a regular basis. I really think he's a great hero to have that kind of versatility of hero.
Okay, great to note. And you were about to talk about your third recommendation.
It's so hard. There's so many heroes I love. I would say probably Zarkon.
Okay.
I love Zarkon. I think I don't like to use him personally on defense. I like to kind of control when I fire my Zarkon. But I really love how you can make him super fast, and you can really just like hammer in those negative statuses and just like go bananas with him. I really really like Zarkon a lot. He's a lot of fun for me.
Who do you enjoy going up against in terms of unit composition in
Oh.
when you use Zarkon? Like, do you feel like Zarkon is best when used against a certain type of units? And
Um,
is there a weakness to Zarkon as well?
well, Zarkon can be a little squishy if you don't build him up a whole lot as far as like health and defense. So you have to definitely not only have accuracy, but to make him a little bit able to withstand some damage. Um, when I'm using him, it's usually in arena or war, and I try to go for teams that don't have a lot of like a spell shield or any sort of um, not invincibility. I can't remember the name now.
Immunity?
Might have had immunity. Thank you. I try to look for teams that don't have those, and if they do, I also try to pair him with a hero that's uh, like Mrs. Klaus to or Mrs. Claus, I guess would be the correct way to say it,
Mm-hmm.
to really kind of get rid of those negatives or get rid of their statuses, so that way I can just then like go nuts with
Go
them.
nuts with them. Yeah, I think what's nice
Yeah.
is I believe Mrs. Claus also has decreased resistance, and
Mhm.
so that makes it easier for you to land as well. I also like using Zarkon in arena. A lot of people have told me enough about him that when I did get him, my first thing was let's put speed on him. So I definitely understand the draw there. So thank you for that. Let's
Yeah.
before we move on to the next topic, I'm gonna go ahead and give our first giveaway. Giveaway, not really a giveaway. Here's our first redeem code. All right. And now I was asked to test this out before the stream, but I didn't get a chance to. So we're gonna do this live, and I'm gonna make sure that I actually get it right first before I say use it, because of the little snafu last week where I gave you a code that didn't quite work. But I believe this should be okay, and I did not transcribe this time, so I'm hoping that I'm not going to make a mistake while I just type in. Okay, so the first one I believe that should work is going to be gold. I think based on the name of based on the code itself, some more gold with underscores underneath. If it's something other than gold, then that's not me. Okay, I didn't choose the price. This is just the code that was given to me. So let's go ahead and try this out, and if it works, then there you go. All right, so we got a couple of gold scrolls, not gold but gold scrolls. Okay, so still what you kind of expect. Right, so gold scrolls, 2 of them for you just by joining the stream. Again, this is something that is going to be available for you if you also watch within the next 24 hours. So thank you for joining me. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 more in just about 10 minutes or so. And then we can continue to do giveaways, and let's continue to do our chats. So, Lyla, what would you say is your favorite part of the game?
Ooh. I would say that it's probably a combination of 2 different things. I personally love the artwork. I think that visually it's really well made. So I like the appearance of especially like the newer heroes that come out. I think that the artwork is just continuously increasing to be even more stunning than it was to begin with. And I love the dev development in the game. I know that sometimes they can't get to our needs as quickly as we'd want them to, but I think it's really awesome that you can develop a personal relationship with with the devs and the people that are involved in the game, because that's not really something that I've seen in the past.
Right.
So I feel like they actually care about the players, which is unheard of sometimes. So
yeah, no, I definitely think that having this level of engagement with developers is a really good thing to have for any game. And I see a lot of efforts being put in to make sure there's connections, right, and that there's availability, which I definitely like a lot as well. So just taking a look at the stream again, we've got a couple of different people joining in. We've got Honeybee here, got Servants with us, Bear Strikes has making an appearance as well. Everybody's saying hello, and Pandita's here to give some shout outs. So awesome.
Hey everybody.
Now, one thing that I wanted to call out here, Lyla, and this is probably something that is a little bit less well known, but there's a lot of effort that you've put into. Now, I've done something similar, but I feel like you've actually taken it maybe even to the next level, I think. And so I just wanted to make sure to give this a call out. And that is the work that you've done on your own Discord server that contains a lot of information about the current heroes and the skills, etc. And I feel like this is something that people will really enjoy using. Now, I'll admit, I have something that I've tried as well, but I just feel like the upkeep is a little too much for me to keep it up to date. But I've seen you put a lot of work into it, and I definitely wanted to make sure I highlight it. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that. And what I can do, everybody, is I will put the link to her Discord server after this stream so that you'll have access to it. You can also reach out to Lailarim Gaming for what it is, but I think it's really good what she's doing, and she's put a lot of effort into it, so I want to highlight it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this this Discord tool that you've created?
Okay. Well, first off, thank you. I'm working on a Discord server called GL Wiz, and I kind of wanted to make it sort of like the endgame lexicon and the library sort of had like a easier access, more user-friendly kind of vibe to it. So it's everything is bot commands. So when you go in, you use like an exclamation point and what you're looking for. And there are different sections about like heroes and hero specials, and then like raid boss stuff. And now, I mean, I will say the upkeep is pretty time consuming sometimes. Like I'm still trying to catch up to the most recent patch just because kids are on summer break and it's life. But I really just wanted to create a place where you could get a lot of information easily accessible and kind of, um, get it get it to where it could really help a lot of people, especially again like newer players that um, may want to have more information easily accessible at their fingertips, I guess.
Hmm. That's good. That's great. And I think, that's one of the things I love about community involvement and contribution, and that is we see a need, and the devs aren't always going to be able to provide everything exactly the way we want, but then we have the power to provide something that we think others might need. And so I just want to say, big shout outs, kudos to all of the hard work you put into it. I know that's a lot of work, especially with kids. I got two of my own. And so just finding time to even get them to school, back from school, and feeding them, putting them to sleep, all of
Yes,
those take more time than you might imagine. And so I totally understand what that's like. So again, thanks a lot for what you do.
thank you.
And so everybody remember to go to Lyla Rim's channel, give a like and a subscribe. Let's build up our community. Let's make sure that we drive lots and lots of views into our content creators channels. Again, we've got Bear Strikes as well, Latimer from the past, and right now we have Lyla Rim. And I'm going to continue to highlight more and more people who are involved in the gaming community so that we can give them some love as well. So thank you for joining me. And some more people that are chatting here in the stream. I'm going to call out a question here from Dennis. So Dennis' question is about classic events. How would you recommend to concentrate on the classic events or just play like always? I mean, is the reward worth it, or is developing your heroes more rewarding? Now, I have some answer to that, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to answer Dennis's question first.
Okay. My personal recommendation is, especially if you're really kind of working on developing something already like your roster, I would not recommend really focusing as much on the events. Yes, the rewards can be really beneficial, like who doesn't want some more scrolls and all of that stuff. But I think that developing your heroes and getting your artifacts the way that you want them and doing those other parts of the game tend to have a more long-lasting effect on your gameplay than it would be to just do the event as they come across, especially for people, at least in my opinion, that are newer to the game, because sometimes those events can be really challenging to finish, and it's easy to kind of lose track of what you want to do, and you get a little like spread thin on stuff. So I'd say that the classic events are not as important to focus on personally.
Okay, thank you. And so for my personal perspective, classic events are going to be like Lyla said, it's going to be hard, especially if you're kind of newer, if you try to chase after everything, especially if you also have limited resources. So a lot of these events can be considered to be pretty resource intensive. I'll give one quick example here. We're taking a look at a blacksmith apprentice, and really, in order to really get to the end of this, you do need to focus on upgrading some higher level star equipment, and you're really looking at getting it up to level 15. And so this could be really difficult for somebody who is mostly free play, who doesn't have a lot of gold and who doesn't have a lot of energy, and to sort of continue to farm for these equipments. And so I would say that classic events, Dennis, is something that I would see you build up to. Right? Don't try to finish everything whenever it comes. These classic events are recurring, and so what you can do is you can also build up to it. So, for example, for the Smith Apprentice, maybe you just managed to get a bunch of your gears up to level 12 at most, maybe, right? Maybe level 9, depending on your resources. There's two benefits that come out of that. The first one is you can benefit from using a higher level gear for your own heroes once you've gotten it. And so I highly recommend first focusing on the gears that you've already equipped on your heroes for this event. And the second thing is, now that you got it to level 9, level 12, whatnot, you can now use it for the next time the apprentice event comes on, and then you can now build it up to level 15 with lesser resource use, and you can still gain some rewards there. So to me, these are recurring, and so just build up to it and don't worry too much. I actually don't always finish my special missions, for example. I just do what I can. Like, I play the game as normal. I focus on my games. But again, like, to me, there's for me, like, it also depends on what I really like to go after. So if there's some like rewards I really 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 feel like will be good for me, like right now I'm chasing after all the platinum scroll shards, right? I feel like at some point, if I just get to the platinum scroll shard, I can save up for it, I can build up to it, and then to me, I'm happy with it. I don't really focus too much on that afterwards. Hero development, I think, is definitely
Hmm.
more important for you because it's going to help you for all of the future events as well. While we're at the subject, just one quick tip here for anybody who is struggling with the All for One event. Um, One thing that you could do if you take a look at the details for All for One, I finished it recently, but I find that I didn't actually need to go through all of the hero experience. I was able to get it just from using the Forest Keepers. What I do is I use personally um, Elrena. I use Elrena to just deal a lot of damage, but for those of you who may not have the heroes, you can also do most of this by using XP dummies. I'm not sure if people realize that you can actually use XP dummies instead of trying to fight in the campaigns. A lot of people are like doing like campaign fights trying to build up the XPs, but XP dummies also work. So if you have lots of XP dummies, now's the time to use them. It'll help you toward that event. So just a little bit of a sidetrack tip from me since we're talking about events here. All right, so people are talking about the server for sure. So yeah, guys, go join it. And I don't know if I don't know if I can add the link to it, but I'll add the link to the description afterwards, and hope to see lots and lots of traffic there. Okay.
Thank you.
There's more questions here. When you guys first started this game, this is from Honeybee. When you first started this game, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently?
Hmm. Actually going back to events, I think that I wouldn't have focused as hard on them when I was first starting. Um, I have a tendency to get a little scatterbrained with what I'm trying to accomplish sometimes. So I think that I would have really focused on um, taking my time with hero development a little bit more and kind of, especially like team development, finding really good team synergy as opposed to just like seeing what heroes other people use and then trying to emulate that as well because not everybody has the same play style. So I think really getting to know my own roster and being able to utilize the heroes that I had from the beginning.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And if I were to answer the same question, what I would be doing differently now than when I first started, I think the first thing I would have done is, you know, I would have focused a lot more on the healers and the support units of my roster instead of just gone full tilt into all attack, right? Like I kind of discarded. I did not regard a lot of the support units in the rarity with very high regard when I first started. I would just focus on damage the whole time. And while that got me okay in certain aspects of the game, I felt like there was just a whole new sort of area that I missed out on that I'm just now catching up on. And if I had started earlier, I would have had a much better, well-rounded roster, so that it would have made it easier for me in a lot of the other aspects as well. I'm playing catch up now, I guess is what I'm saying, as opposed to just starting with a good foundation. And the game actually allows you to start with that good foundation if you just focus on a lot of the various different support heroes. And so that's what I would definitely take a look at. Like Inula, for example, was a hero I never even cared about, but that's because I didn't really understand the reason why she is really that good. And so there's a lot of heroes like that. And what's good now is there's a lot of content creators out there that are making videos for these type of heroes nowadays. Like Lyla, for example, has has videos as a content creator about these type of heroes. So I suggest if you're starting out, take a look at what videos are available, who is making the content, and what they're recommending. Take a look at that so that you can learn more about it. So that would be my recommendation. And I'm seeing in the chat also people are giving recommendations for how to deal with All for One event. So if you go to the Moon Dust event, Here are some examples of the units that you could bring in for this, and you can bring in, for example, Zarkon is one that does damage over time. Kusai is another one, can deal damage over time as well, so you can use this also to deal a lot of damage. These are some of the recommendations that people are putting in the chat. So again, thanks everybody for putting in your suggestions and interacting, giving tips and feedback here. So let's help everybody finish the event. We still have another day and a half or so to go. These are some of the tips and tricks for everybody. So let's go ahead and get this done. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see more questions here. Zemkowski, that's what I'm going to try and say. Again, apologies if I'm not saying it correctly. But what is the best legendary hero that a person who is new to Gemstone Legends can get as a first 5-star hero? Oh, this was going to be controversial, I think, if we're talking about, if we're talking about what's the best one? What would you say is the best legendary hero to get as the first hero?
Like if like just luck of the draw, like who's the best hero you could get?
I don't know.
Or like, I guess I'm not really understanding it. So, my understanding of the question is like, who should a new person be the most excited to pull? Is that?
Let's go with that.
Is that accurate?
We can go with that.
I would say, as far as summoning goes, probably Aurora. Now you can kind of like finagle some other heroes like a Gaffadeth to sort of do similar things, but I think that as far as a legendary hero that I use almost in every battle, Aurora, and I was pumped to get her. I think that she's a really, really great hero to have on your team. But I do think that you're not. I don't know. Luck is kind of part of it, so I don't know.
Yeah. But I guess
but yeah, I
what you're saying
think
here is Aurora to you is like the best legendary hero thing for most people in the game. That's one you use the most, right? And
yes.
Now that I'm looking at the chat as well, and let me know if you want to jump back in with some other thoughts as well. But if I were to sort of repeat what some of the people are saying here as well, like I think Buzz jumped in as well. If you're just kind of talking about like what should you focus on, well, the game gives you 2 legendary heroes that you can fuse, and I think we can also talk about that a little bit, right? And so in the fusions you can see there's Streetbach and Guinevere. Question is are they worth it? Are they worth the resources and the time to try and go after? I think if you take away the random factor away, like you say, Lyla, there's definitely an RNG involved here.
Yeah.
This takes away the random factor, and both Streetbach and Guinevere are just amazing heroes, especially if you're helping out, right? I don't think there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with going after them. Guinevere is going to give you the heal. It's going to give you the dispel, and Streetbach is going to give you the speed up. It's going to give you the mana increase, and Streetbach helps Aurora tremendously as well, right? And
I actually pair them a lot.
Yeah, like anytime I have a blue hero, I always have Streetbach in there. You put speed on him and on Guinevere, and you're going to be really well on your way. So I think these two are definitely something I would always recommend new players to go after. And I think if we now take a look at our sort of our staples, the ones that you can go after. And I think this is a good segue to talk about the new heroes that are now coming out regularly. Tons and tons of new heroes that have come out, and the latest one that we have, that we could potentially pull is Zerfar, which I actually didn't get, but I wanted to get your take on it, right? So these new legend heroes, we're getting pretty, I would say 2 to 3 legend heroes, probably like one per month or so, right? And so, what are your thoughts about these new legendary heroes? Do you like them? Do you think that they have, what do you think about these new heroes compared to the ones that we've seen in the past that we use more often? And just kind of, give me your general take on this right now.
Well, I think there's a lot to say on this topic. The first thing is, yes, we are getting like hammered in with some new heroes like all the time. So it's hard sometimes to keep track of like what heroes do what, and I have to like make sure that I can go back to their special. I'm excited about a lot of them. I haven't gotten all of them, especially like some of um, the newer heroes that have come out. I did get Zerfar, but I'm super excited about him. Besides the fact that his sass level, like, look at that face. That is a sassy face. But I like the fact that they're a little bit more like niche heroes. So it's sort of more challenging and a little bit more fun to me that instead of having, your staple heroes and seeing the same teams constantly over and over and over in arena or war, that you're able to kind of like take some of these newer heroes and really tweak them and kind of like work their special to your advantage and make unique teams. Whereas some of the other heroes, it's just like just a really good base hero to have.
Mhm.
Someone like your Zerfar is going to be a little bit more, a little bit more interesting play style, in my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, there's
Okay.
so many new heroes, so many.
Yes, yes, they are. And I will say, kind of going back, I think Zimkowski is kind of refining the question a little bit, and I think that's also
Oh, okay.
helpful. Question is like, well, let's say somebody gets lucky and pulls a legendary hero in the first 10 summons. What would be the best hero that that person could get from those summons? Like, what would be, the best ones that's suited for a new player that's starting? And I think this is going to be, I think for me, I'm going to phrase it as like somebody who's coming in, new to the game, does a bunch of summons and gets a legend hero. Of all the ones that are available, which one would be best suited for a new player is the way I'm going to try and phrase that now. And I think to me, I'm going to try and answer this and let me know what you think, Lyla.
Okay.
I think that there are actually heroes that fall in the easy to use category and the more advanced, sort of like a little bit more knowledge required and a little bit more finesse and a little bit more roster required category. So that if I were a new player, I would actually think that Zerfar may not be the best one for somebody to get as they're first starting out, because I think you already mentioned it, Lyla. Like, it requires like some different types of play style you kind of need to make it work,
Hmm.
right? And it's not that the hero isn't good. I think it's that Zerfar is not someone that is going to carry the team for you. If you're using a legend hero, if you get the first one for the first, this one for the first time, it's not going to carry you, and it's not really going to support your team as much. You kind of need to have some sort of a team that can sort of help you along the way, and Zerfar will actually boost it, but you're not going to get the kind of support. It's not going to be somebody that can carry easily, right, in the start. So I actually kind of feel like this one is going to be a little bit more advanced, as opposed to, compared to someone like, I'm going to give a couple of heroes that I think are going to be really, really good for people who are just starting out. Um, that's the one that you pull. So like, really, really easy one to use, for example, is like Akuma. Great damage dealer, doesn't die when he dies. He does have a revive, and you can just kind of keep using it. He's going to be a really great single damage dealer. That to me, I think is a good one. Sigil is another one I really like. I felt that
Hmm.
I didn't understand Sigil very much when I first pulled her, but the thing is, Sigil actually gives you mana and dispels a ton of negative stats. Really helps keep your team alive and using the skills more often. Sigil is like one of my primary legendaries I've used, this entire time. And so for support here, I really like her. And I think I'll just give three. The third one I think that's gonna actually be really good would be like, people don't get excited about this, but you need an Alexander, which is a
Yes.
taunting tank that will allow you to keep your other heroes alive, especially in the early game. If you're just kind of starting out, if you're playing campaigns, whatnot, Alexander is going to help you survive a lot as well, right? So these are just kind of like my thinking is like, these are easy to use. They're not difficult to understand. They're not difficult to learn. You just just use them, and your whole team will benefit. Like, you don't really need to think about, do I have the right people on here? You just throw your team together and you can do something with it. That's my personal my personal feel. I think it's not always going to be beneficial for you to go after the most newest, shiniest, most interesting legendary hero, because if you're not going to get the most out of it, it's probably going to feel very underwhelming, and it's not going to make your experience that great. But use some of like the really easy ones. I think it's going to help you
Hmm.
out. That's my personal feel. What do you think?
I totally agree with you. I first off, I don't have Alexander yet, and I'm so sad about it. But I think that he is absolutely um, a super easy hero for anybody to use, and he's going to benefit whoever has him. So I totally agree with you there, and I do think Sigil is um, a really fantastic hero to have. I'm still going to stick with Aurora.
Hmm.
I think personally for me, I think that she's an easy to use hero, and you're going to understand that um, that her special is going to help carry you through pretty much any game aspect that you're going to have. So um, I tend to be under my personal opinion would be that the support type heroes are
Hmm.
going to be the most important that you can get and utilize. So,
Okay.
but Alex for sure, I think is one of the best first heroes to get.
Yeah, definitely a really good one. Now, I do see in the chat as well. Somebody mentioned Taiko-san is one to watch out for. Now, just
Okay.
because I don't have him, and I'm gonna just sour grape and say no, you don't want Taiko-san. Okay, that hero is absolutely atrocious. Who needs a area of effect stun, right? Nobody needs
Oh,
that.
it's lovely.
Oh yeah, right. Like we don't need Taiko-san. He might as well be out of the game. All right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm completely sour graping because I don't have him, but I think he's also really great. But I will say though, the one I'm actually kind of flipping around, Lee as a legendary hero, I would have to be very, very honest with you, and I would have to say he's probably one of the worst legendary heroes in the game for me right now. I used this guy
Yeah.
in a guild war one time just because I needed him for the speed. So yeah, he's got great speed. I have him totally sped up because of the way his skill works. And what I will say is, oh, he's in storage now. Look at that. That's how bad it is. He's now in storage. Okay, and I have him, up to like 340 speed. Yes, I could have more for sure, but like I couldn't even tickle the defender, who is a purple defender, a support defender. I couldn't even tickle it. Okay, and
Hmm.
so it was like no matter what I did, no matter how much how much boost I gave him, it was just not doing anything, right? So for Lee to be a legendary hero, I think unfortunately kind of falls short for me. So flipping it back to you, maybe you agree, maybe you think that Lee's also the worst, but is there another one that you think is just like like why is this a legendary hero?
Um, I don't even think that it's just that he's a legendary hero. I just think that it's just not a particularly well-made hero.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually one of my guildmates fed away a Lee today to ascend another hero, and we were all like, "Yeah, makes sense."
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was I don't know. I don't think I can argue against your point. I am not a fan
Not a fan,
personally.
right? Yeah, that's just it's
Yeah,
just hard. Just hard to understand, where
yeah.
he fits. He doesn't fit very well. That's the problem. Whether it's legendary or not, not a great, just not a great fit anywhere. It doesn't really help anybody. It doesn't
That's
really do anything.
yeah.
You can't really count on him as a damage dealer. You can't count on him as a support. He doesn't heal you. And oh, thank you so much, Pandita, for oh, let me move this one. Thank you so much for I don't know what to do here. This is like covered up. Sorry, I'm gonna fix that up. But Pandita, appreciate that for. Thank you so much. And Buzz also makes a good point here, and that is you don't always have to focus on legendary heroes. And I think this is
Mhm.
the whole point why we're here, why we're talking about this, because Gemstone Legends is a game where you can develop your roster based on any hero that is any rarity, right? In fact, I think last time we talked about this, I also have heroes that are in the uncommon category, Pan, that I use
Ooh,
regularly,
yes.
right? Pan is a hero that I use regularly. And so I know that you have already talked about, Inula is the best, rare hero, one of the best rare heroes that you use, and then your favorite is Aurora. I see a theme with the blue heroes here. A lot of people really like the blue heroes. Was
Yeah.
there one that was particularly surprising for you where you're like, oh, I didn't actually know about this hero? Like, I actually enjoy using this. Was there like a moment where you learned about something that you could share with the chat? Kind of say like, oh, check this unit out. You might be surprised.
Um, one of my one of my favorite kind of discoveries recently was Thorgrad. His damage goes up when he is affected by Soul Link, and I had Karagon, and like I just wasn't really a big fan of my Karagon until I was like, I'm gonna pair him up with Thorgrad, and I love it. I think the two of them together with they work nicely. So I really think he was one of my surprises because I was pretty underwhelmed with Thorgrad until I put him with Karagon or
Okay.
any other Soul Link heroes. So
Okay.
that was my most recent favorite.
Oh, interesting. I actually haven't used Thorgrat much myself, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying that out. Unfortunately, don't have Karagon, but the one of the
Hmm.
current hero that uses Soul Link is in the event for All for One, right? So we know that what's his name, the Simdor also,
Simdor, yeah.
yeah, Simdor also has Soul Link, and so I think kind of another hero that is kind of new that is interesting, I think. But this one has a dependency on another hero. And this is another topic
Hmm.
I wanted to bring up here as well. A lot of the new heroes, and we didn't talk about this yet, and we didn't talk about this last week either. We're seeing more heroes now that have dependencies on other heroes, on your team.
Hmm.
Like we've seen this before, Mrs. Claus with Mr. Claus and all of the reindeer attackers, needing Mrs. Claus or Mr. Claus on the team to have the full benefit. Now we're seeing Sindor. We saw previous ones. Let's see. Just lots of heroes now that say you gain additional benefits if you have these other heroes on the team. What are your thoughts
Hmm.
about that? Like, thumbs up, thumbs down on it? Kind of what's your take?
Uh, I'm kind of torn between that. I think it's exciting when you have those heroes because you could pair them up and it's going to be a little bit more exciting for that. But I do, in all honesty, feel like it's a little bit kind of like a pay to win moment, which is not something that I've typically seen from Gemstone Legends. So I'm trying to think of it more as a like fun to collect in your own personal roster. Um, but I feel like it needs to be broadened a little bit. Like I prefer more where a special pairs well with another special, as opposed to where you have to have two specific heroes working together.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially when they're, legendary heroes that you're going to be working with, your chance of having them definitely goes down.
Right,
So
right.
I think that for a free to play player, it's a little bit disheartening um, to kind of feel like the odds are kind of stacked against you with some of those heroes, and not necessarily saying that those are the best heroes to have because they're not necessarily. You can really finagle your team to do what you want it to do with the heroes you do get, but um, I don't want to see the newer players or the free to play players feeling disheartened about something like that. So
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
little kind of 50-50 on it.
Okay. And before I go on, I'm going to make sure that I do our redeem codes here. We're going to give the rest of the two since it is already 45 minutes after the hour. So apologies, I didn't do this a little bit earlier, but I'm going to give you both codes now. And get your redeem code things ready. We're going to start with the first one, and that is going to be outrageous. It is. All right, make sure you spell outrageous correctly. This is going to be our second redeem code. I will give you the third one immediately after this, so you don't have to wait anymore. So we're going to go ahead and confirm. And this is going to give you 150 gems, everybody. I think these are actually pretty good rewards
Nice.
that you can claim even afterwards. Okay, so the second one is going to be outrageous. So somebody please put it in the chat, and so people can still redeem it afterwards. And we're gonna go and immediately go into our third and final code of the day, and that is going to be let's cook some more. I'm loving the names that's been given to me for the redeem of codes. Okay, so this is going to be our third and final code. I'm just gonna double check, make sure I spell it correctly. Let's cook some more, and that's going to get you a 4-star cauldron and 2 3-star cauldron. All right. So
Nice.
these are the 3 different codes that we have for the stream. Again, codes will be available for 24 hours, so you can claim it afterwards as well. And so thank you everybody for watching, and thank you for everybody for your support so far. And let's go back to our topic conversation here. And I think, this is where I think that, sorry, I'm going to set this up while we talk, because a lot of people have given suggestions for what we could do, and I'm going to put in Zarkon here as an example, and I'm just going to kind of let it run in the background. So don't mind this, I'm just going to let it run in the background so people can kind of see what's happening here. We're using Zarkon to do some damage so he can help you with the All for One event. So let's talk about the free-to-play player sort of landscape here in the game. Right. When I first started, I would say that, I love the fact that I could take a rare hero, uncommon hero, bring it all the way to 6 stars. I could just grind hard to get, Streetbot, get Guinevere, all of these things. And they still apply today. But I think, I'm not a free-to-play player personally, but I definitely have the free-to-play players' best interest at heart. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who are free-to-play players as well. So do we feel like there's a shift? Do we feel like the game is not as free-to-play friendly anymore? And what would be some of the things that you would say, like, if we had to change things, like what would it be? Like, are you going in the wrong direction, right direction? Obviously, like, this is just an opinion, right? I'm not gonna say like, oh, like, what's the right way to do things, but I just kind of curious, like, what your thoughts are, like, just like kind of, how do you feel about the free-to-play sort of landscape right now, and what are some of the things that you think you would like to see different?
I think that it is definitely still possible to be a free-to-play player. Actually, I have an alt account. My Sandby's account is free-to-play, and I have to kind of work a little harder, I guess, to achieve some of the different things, like ascending heroes in a quick way. Like it's slower. It's a slower process, but I still believe that free to play is possible with the game. I think that there's kind of been a little bit of a shift of focus to keep payers more interested, because when you can just like buy however many summons you want or whatever, it's a lot easier to kind of just like keep on trucking along. But it gets boring, I think, if that's the mindset that you have. It's not the mindset I have. I've got kids. I don't have time for that. But I think that and it might just be because of other games that are out there that people kind of just naturally have the opinion that free to play is not going to be fun or beneficial, but it totally is. I think it's still very much doable.
Yeah, I definitely agree. What do you guys think? In the chat, let me know. Are you a free to play player? How does the game feel for you right now? Like, what aspect of the game is the most difficult for you if you're free to play? And I think that what I think we could always do is we could bring these kind of issues to light. Let's surface some of the things that make the game, more challenging for people. What are the things that we can do to make it better? Like, I want this also to be a platform for us to get together and talk about these issues. Like, let's be open and honest about it. And my personal feeling is that I've seen a lot of struggles from the free-to-play players in my guild where they never get the heroes that are featured. Like, they work hard, they grind hard to get all of the gold scrolls, and now that we have the mercy system, which is amazing, I love the fact that we have the mercy system. But what I've seen now is, because of the dilution of the pool, they end up getting to the point where they don't get the hero that they would like when it's featured. Like, they wait for specific heroes. Like, I had guildmates who were waiting for Aurora and for Lancelot, who were both featured at the same time. But unfortunately, they didn't get it. Instead, they got, yet another duplicate legendary hero, or, they just don't get it at all. And for the free-to-play players, that becomes a little bit disheartening because they work hard for the situation, like, to wait for the time when it comes around, and then they don't know when the next time it's available again. And so I think for me, it's the feeling of defeat when they
Hmm.
build up towards something with the limited resources they have, and then RNG comes in the play, and it just kind of ruins their experience. I don't know what to do about that, but what I do know is that there's an aspect to the game where we all recognize that RNG is part of it. We all understand that this is something that is what the game is based on. So I'm not asking to change that, but I think what's real is the feeling that of disappointment when you
Hmm.
finally get to a point where you use that resource. Keep in mind, these are resources that are very hard earned, so it's very hard to part with. And when you use it and it gets you something that doesn't actually reflect what you are hoping for, the feeling of disappointment is there. Right now, we can try and justify it all we want. We can give as much logical explanations as we want, but the fact is, players are people with feelings,
Hmm.
and you can't tell them how to feel about something, right? The way they feel is what's going to cause them to not want to continue to play the game anymore. And so that's something I want people to pay attention to, right? Not that the legendary the Gemstone Legends game is not paying attention to that. It's just that I think these are some of the things that we want to highlight more, right? How do we as a community provide this kind of feedback in a way that allows us to have this kind of movement forward? Me personally, I don't have a good answer. I just know that we need to make sure our free to play players feel valued, right? In some way, feel valued.
Yeah.
I think that they do. I think the game has a ton of value for them, definitely. But I think that's being overshadowed with the recent sort of onslaught of new legendary heroes, feature heroes. All of these things are pushing them to feel like they need to summon or else, like they're not going to catch up.
Mm.
I think that's actually overshadowing the tons and tons of goodness that this game has. And so I think this is important that we talk about these things. And that's why I try to highlight the various different heroes that you don't need to chase after, some of the things that you can get. Right. So thank you for sharing your thoughts here.
Sure.
I kind of went on a little bit of rant there, so sorry about that. Apologies. This
No,
is
it's all
actually for
good.
you, right? So I want to make sure that you have more input as well.
Hey, it's for you too. This is us. We're doing this together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, I definitely think that you bring up a really valuable point that can be forgotten. And that's that these are people and not just like, you know, random numbers, basically. Like it's really important to remember that these are live human beings that we're playing with. And I think it's easy to lose track of that, um, and get a little bit kind of bent out of shape about stuff as far as like I know I've been disappointed when I haven't gotten a hero before, and it's it is a little disheartening to get like your 75th, Durgle. So I also I kind of don't know how to bring that up with the devs as well. Is that the humanity aspect of it? I think that that was a really beautiful point that you made.
Thank you. Well, I think that they're always listening, and I'll be the first to tell you that they're always listening. And when this is the point that we have brought up in the past is not many games have this level of engagement from a development team. So there's that. I want to make sure that we we talk about all aspects, right, good and bad, and that
Hmm.
is we have this game where the development team is super engaged with the players, and we actually have people in the chat. Dennis is saying, like, in his opinion, Legendary Gemstone Legends is the most free to play friendly game, and that is, you know, that is very very true. Compared to a lot of games, this game is really tremendously free to play friendly, and I think that
Hmm.
we need to highlight both good and the bad. Okay, and so take advantage of this. Talk to the devs, let them know how we feel. I think this is what we can do. Con William Deep made a comment here. Just want to welcome you to the chat as well. Gaffadev plus Ong is a great combo. So Ong is a rare hero that gives increased critical damage and definitely works with Gaffadev, who does increased attack.
Hmm.
Okay, so good combination there. Lots and
Yes.
lots of people chatting as well. So let's see if there's any questions or any comments for Lyla here. We're at 10:57 right now, so we're gonna be ending the stream in about 3 minutes or so. So we stay consistent with a 1 hour stream here. Just wanted to make sure if there's anything that is available here. And if there's more questions that we didn't get to, you can always ping us. We're both on the official Discord server as
Hmm.
well. And use that to, have conversations with us or with the dev team. And also check out Lyla. So Lyla, hopefully after this, you will see more people on your server. So be prepared for more conversations there.
I hope so. Yay.
Yay. And so there's lots and lots of chats happening here, but I think that, I'll go through them. And if there's more questions, let me know afterwards and I'll try and get them. But what I want to do before we end the stream here is just want to, Lila, take the floor here. Is there anything else you want to say? Any thoughts? Let's close this out. Let's talk about your channel, what people can expect to see when they join, and what are some of the things that you would like to see moving forward. The floor is yours.
Okay. Let's see. So I have the YouTube channel, and then like you were saying, I also have the Discord server, and I just want to make sure everybody knows that I really want to make things as helpful as possible. And I'm always ready for feedback as far as that goes, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Discord. I really do value feedback that can be given there, whether it's negative or positive. I'll take it as I will. And, it's a growth opportunity. But I think one big point that I just really want to make about Gemstone Legends, and I know I've said it already, but I want to say it again, just because you don't get a legendary does not mean you won't be successful. Um, I personally like to focus a little bit more on the development of newer players or beginner players. And I just don't want anyone to get discouraged if they don't get a legendary, because you can take a rare or an uncommon hero and they can become some of the most valuable heroes on your team. So it's really just working with what you have and taking the challenges as they come to you. But again, if you have any questions or want to chat about stuff, I'm as available as a mom can be. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time here. And I'm going to close out here by giving people something I just thought about as well, and actually been thinking about a while. And I realized this is probably a good time for this as well. This is my weekly platform for people to come on. We can talk about things and give people insight into various different content creators or people who are just very active in the community in general, so we can highlight this. But if you're an aspiring content creator, if you want to get started in this, if you feel like you have a lot of things you want to share and you want to give it a shot and you don't know where to start, I know how challenging it could be to get started in this space, whether it be on Twitch or on YouTube or any other platform. I can also offer some assistance here to help you guys out. Like, I'm not sure I can give you dedicated time to necessarily bring it up to speed, but I think there are a lot of tips that I can also provide. So if there's any questions, I can also try and help out there. I'm gonna think about something. If you're an aspiring content creator but you don't know where to get started, I'll let me know and we'll probably get something started here. I'm not committing to a new project per se, but I definitely want to help make this a bigger community and make sure that we can all be successful here. So just let me know what your interests are. I think what I'll do is I will have a community post on my YouTube page. I'll put a post there, and then you guys can comment and let me know what your thoughts are, and I will take a look, and then we'll go from there. All right. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for joining me. We're just about 1 minute over, but we're right within that 60-minute goal for our stream. So again, thanks, Lyla, for joining me. It's been a great stream. Great talking to you. Got a chance to learn about
thank
you, and
you.
I enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you having me on.
Always. Anytime. All right, guys. Thank you very
Thanks.
much for the stream. I'm going to end this here, and I will see you guys next week in our next live stream.